Now, this topic is a little bit outside of my ballpark, I think, but I still want to talk about it for a variety of reasons. For one, this might surprise you, but one of the people involved in this story follows me, or at least I think is aware of me. He follows me on Twitter, and that's Karl Jobst. Now, I actually think he makes really good content. His call-out videos in the past have come off as extremely well-substantiated and well-reasoned, and he seems like a chill guy. Of all the YouTubers in the space that do what you might call drama call-out content, he doesn't come off as like a clout-hungry, demonically shameless asshole. You know, he's not like a huge edgelord dickbag, as a lot of people in that space with that type of content tend to be. And I was sad to hear that he had just lost a lawsuit. Because when Karl Jobst makes videos about people, at least I always thought, like, okay, so he's usually making videos about some pretty bad people. Sometimes they're super litigious assholes. And you hope and you assume that with the public support that he has, if someone who's bad comes after him with a lawsuit, he'll probably win it, especially if it's some frivolous slap suit meant to intimidate, right? Well, apparently, like a while ago, like 4 or 6 years ago or something like that, he made a video about a classic old school arcade pro gamer named Billy Mitchell. Now, you might know about Billy Mitchell because, and this is why I knew who he was, you and I might all know about Billy Mitchell if you're like Gen Z because of Regular Show. This is how I knew of him. Because Regular Show made fun of him with a character that wasn't necessarily him, but was meant to totally be him well over a decade ago, and I was a kid and I didn't get the joke, but looking back it's like, oh, okay, alright. Now, apparently, according to Karl Jobst, Billy Mitchell cheated and or I shouldn't say cheated, he faked, according to him, his record-breaking famous Donkey Kong champion runs. Now, this has apparently been claimed by a lot of other sources. This isn't a Karl Jobst specific claim, but in his call-out, apparently Karl says that Billy Mitchell caused famous speedrunner Apollo Legends' suicide. Now, I don't know what it is about this Apollo Legend guy and his suicide being blamed on other people in the gaming industry, because I know that people blamed Dark Viper AU for it as well. I don't think it was both Gary Bobby Ferguson, as we're going to call him from now on, and Dark Viper AU's fault that Apollo Legend committed suicide. That just doesn't sound right to me. And so, yeah, I think by the sounds of it, assuming Karl really did claim that, and it seems like he did, that was definitely an irresponsible claim to make. A YouTuber who makes otherwise extremely well-substantiated and well-made videos calling out bad behavior from public figures as more of a documentary than a drama video, accidentally went too far, and it was enough to get him sued. And not only did it get him sued, but, well, Donkey Kong champion wins defamation case against Australian YouTuber Karl Jobst. Queenslander ordered to pay $350,000 plus interest and costs as judge finds his video about American gamer Billy Mitchell was recklessly based on a false claim. That is... I hope Karl's a millionaire, because fuck, dude, that's a lot. A professional YouTuber in Queensland has been ordered to pay $350,000 plus interest and court costs to the former world record score holder for Donkey Kong after the Brisbane court found the YouTuber had defamed him recklessly, quote-unquote, with false claims of a link between a lawsuit and another YouTuber's suicide. William, or Billy Mitchell, a American gamer who had held world records in Donkey Kong and Pac-Man going back to 1982 as recognized by the Guinness World Records and the video game database Twin Galaxies, brought the case against Karl Jobst, seeking $400,000 in general damages and $50,000 in aggravated damages. Jobst, who makes videos about speedrunning, finishing games as fast as possible, as well as gaming records and cheating in games, made a number of allegations against Mitchell in 2021 in a 2021 YouTube video. He accused Mitchell of cheating and pursuing unmeritorious litigation against others who had accused him of cheating, the court judgment stated. The court heard Mitchell was accused in 2017 of cheating in his Donkey Kong World Records by using emulation software instead of original arcade hardware. Twin Galaxies investigated the allegation and subsequently removed Mitchell's scores and banned him from participating in its competitions. The Guinness World Records disqualified Mitchell as a holder of all his records in both Donkey Kong and Pac-Man after the Twin Galaxies decision. The judgment stated that Jobst's 2021 video also linked the December 2020 suicide of another YouTuber, Apollo Legend, to, quote, stress arising from his settlement with Mitchell, and wrongly asserted that Apollo Legend had to pay Mitchell, quote, a large sum of money. The judgment noted multiple versions of the video were published, with the allegations removed or addressed before Jobst issued a retraction video in July 2021, 2 months after the original. The first video was viewed by more than 500,000 people, including 200,000 in Australia, the court heard. Judge Ken Barlow found Jobst had made 5 defamatory imputations about Mitchell, including that Mitchell had required Apollo Legend pay him a large sum of money, and thus implying he, in essence, hounded Apollo Legend to death. So I guess Karl Jobst, who I don't really think was malicious in this, because Billy Mitchell, to be clear, like, the Guinness Book of World Records struck down his records as cheating. He was found to have been using an emulator, or at least they thought hard enough that he was, that they took action against him for it. And so he's generally considered a disgrace in the gaming industry and the gaming community, as far as I'm aware. I don't think he's well regarded. However, in playing so fast and loose, talking about someone that I think he felt there wasn't a very high standard not to play too fast and loose when talking about, he went too far, did a little bit too much assuming to maybe pad out the runtime of the video, you know, maybe it's something YouTubers are known to do, and it really backfired on him. Like Billy Mitchell, I believe, is famously litigious as well. I think he sued Cartoon Network for that famous regular show portrayal. That wasn't even him. It was Gary Bobby Ferguson. Yeah, he went after someone extremely litigious. He slipped up, and he did, in fact, do something that the court correctly found him liable for. Didn't he cheat in Pac-Man too? If he cheated in Donkey Kong, then he probably cheated in Pac-Man as well. Anyway. Barlow found this was based on a fallacy, and that Jobst, in not making further inquiries before publishing the video, had been recklessly indifferent to if it was true. Jobst denied the imputations he had been made in the video. He argued Mitchell had a pre-existing bad reputation because he had been previously exposed as a cheat, the court heard. Barlow found Mitchell did have an existing reputation as a cheat and for suing people who alleged he was a cheat, and found that Mitchell had expressed joy when he believed, incorrectly, on an earlier occasion that Apollo Legend may have died. But Barlow found Jobst had severely damaged Mitchell's reputation and caused distress. This is another big factor when it comes to lawsuits like this. One of the biggest factors that decides, probably the biggest factor. Like, people think it's the did you intend to lie about someone or intend to defame someone that people get hung up on. But really, one of the core things that decides whether or not a judge or a jury is likely to rule in your favor is whether or not damages were caused. If someone lied about you, but it didn't really hurt you in any measurable way that you can prove in court, even if all the other factors for a viable, favorable judgment are in your favor, you might lose. You'll probably lose. Because what the court really wants to see is that you as an individual, or you as a entity or a company, clearly and demonstrably lost income and were caused some level of provable distress by the actions of the other party. And unfortunately, Karl Jobst really made that easy for Billy Mitchell's defense or legal team, and kind of handed the W over to the guy. I hate to say it. He slipped up. I don't think Jobst was like a lying, malicious guy. I don't think he deserved to lose this case, on a moral level. I'm just saying, bro slipped up. The law is tricky, and he slipped up, you know? He described Jobst as having a, quote, self-aggrandizing and perhaps self-protective tendency not to admit error and not to back down once he has taken a stance. I can kind of agree with that, but considering the reputation and kind of person Mitchell is, to be gone after for this, it's like if Andrew Tate, it's like if you bumped into Andrew Tate while walking down the street, saw who he was, and were just like, yeah, sorry, man, didn't mean it. But then he sued you for assault and battery for it. You would not back down on saying, no, you know what? I'm not sorry. I'm not fucking sorry. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't. That motherfucker is not gonna, you would not want to back down or show weakness in a situation like that. And that's kind of analogous to what's happening from Karl Jobst's POV when you think about it. The judgment summary noted that the court was not called on to decide and did not decide if Mitchell had cheated in his world record scores. See, they didn't care. All they cared about was damages. The court awarded Mitchell $300,000 in damages for non-economic loss and an additional $50,000 in aggravated damages due to Jobst's publishing the video twice, mocking Mitchell's complaint about it, failing to apologize and withdraw the allegations, and his, quote, clear malice towards Mitchell. Jobst was ordered to pay more than $40,000 in interest on the damages from the date of publication, as well as Mitchell's costs. Mitchell had previously sued Twin Galaxies in the U.S. in a case which settled in January 2024. As part of the settlement, Twin Galaxies published a statement that Mitchell had, quote, produced expert opinion that the gameplay on the tapes of Mr. Mitchell's record gameplays could depict play on an original unmodified Donkey Kong arcade hardware if the hardware involved was malfunctioning, likely due to the degradation of components. The company said it would reinstate all of Mitchell's previous scores on its website's official historical database and remove the dispute thread about Mitchell's records. Mitchell's Guinness World Records were also reinstated in June 2020. Okay, so they've been reinstated after a legal settlement. I don't know, man. Yeah, I watch Never fly too high on a sunny day or your wings will always melt. True, true, true. Man. I am so shocked that this is how it turned out. Karl Jobst is a good guy. Is the video still up? You'd think the court would order him to take the video down, right? Karl Jobst, Billy Mitchell. Is his video still up?
Hello, you absolute legends. As we all know.
Okay, so this video is... Let's hear a moment or two of this situation from Karl's perspective, I guess. This was a year ago, as the legal situation was still kind of unfolding.
Billy Mitchell, the video game player of the century, is currently most well known for cheating in Donkey Kong. Generally, whenever we talk about him, it's to discuss the fact that he lied about his world records. But after Billy Mitchell sued Twin Galaxies for defamation, and the preceding lawsuit has progressed over the years, we have begun to witness something very strange. What we have come to realize is that Billy Mitchell doesn't just lie about his Donkey Kong world records, it seems like Billy lies about absolutely everything. And the example we will look at today is probably the dumbest lie he has ever told. This lie is so perplexing that I have failed to find any logical reason for its existence. And the craziest part is that it was a lie that Billy told during his deposition, which is supposed to be under oath. What's even more strange is just how adamant Billy was in this lie. It seemed to be very important to Billy. Watch this clip of Billy being asked a simple question, and look at how defiant he is in his response.
Are you associated with the International Video Game Hall of Fame at all?
I support them however I can.
And you're a director, aren't you?
You're wrong. I am not a director.
Have you ever been a director?
No.
Billy is asked if he is a director of the International Video Game Hall of Fame, to which Billy says, "You're wrong, I am not a director." He follows this up by saying that he was never a director. Billy is then presented with the Hall of Fame website that still to this day says he is a director, and Billy continues to flat out deny it. This lie was so bizarre and so egregious that Twin Galaxies recently filed a motion for sanctions against Billy for lying during his deposition. The evidence they present in this motion is pretty convincing. They have the website for the organization saying he is a director, and they also have multiple testimonies of existing and current board members saying that he was a director as well. However,
yeah, unless Karl Jobst is just blatantly lying here, that's pretty solid. I don't think I get the vibe that Billy Mitchell, I think, in my opinion, because I know this guy is a litigious little creature. I think, in my opinion, Billy Mitchell is probably a massive asshole and very litigious. Has a huge ego and is a massive liar as well, in my opinion. And so, like, I'm already seeing enough so far to be like, yeah, this just comes off to me as, like, genuinely, it's like my example. If you bumped into Andrew Tate, like an accidental shoulder check while walking down the street, and he chose to, like, sue you for assault and battery, and then actually won. Like that, like that's the kind of situation this seems like. A genuinely bad person, in my opinion, won on a technicality, trying to shut someone down through lawfare, funnily enough.
However, with all that being said, Twin Galaxies didn't have concrete proof. A director is a very specific role within a company. The website itself isn't an official tax document, and witnesses can be unreliable. I felt like they needed something more, and to this day, no one had found any official company filings that showed Billy was a director. But after my recent work on the Open Hand Foundation, I had a bit more experience, and I felt like there must be something, somewhere, that proved Billy was in fact a director. So,
Carl did really good coverage of the stuff going on with what's his name, the completionist, and that whole situation was really sad because I really liked the completionist's videos. I like to consider myself a completionist when it comes to games. I don't go for maxing out all the like achievements or trophies. I more so go for like the most satisfying things to 100%. So like for me in Pokemon, getting one of every Pokemon at perfect 31 IVs down the line, all the way down the row, with perfect EV training and perfect nature, even though it's pointless for a lot of the Pokemon to even do that for, having a whole living dex with that is the type of like completionist behavior that satisfies me. And so it's really sad seeing the YouTuber whose whole thing was rating games and how fun they are to fully complete, to have him destroy his own reputation like that. It was rough, dude. It was rough.
I searched again, and this week, I found it. I found never-before-seen tax filings that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Billy was lying during his deposition, and he was indeed a director. In this video, I'm going to show Billy lying multiple times under oath and explain why those lies might mean the end of Billy's lawsuit. I really hope you enjoy. Now, legends, this video is sponsored by the military online game War Thunder, and when it comes to vehicle combat, War Thunder is the most...
I just wanted to see a bit of the Karl Jobst side of things when it comes to Billy Mitchell, so I'm not just getting the, oh, he lost his court case, you know, he must be wrong, he must be, you know, like a bad person or whatever kind of perspective, you know? Man, this is really a sad situation. I've seen that a lot of people on Twitter and on social media and YouTube and stuff have immediately jumped to the conclusion that Karl Jobst must be like a liar or a piece of shit. Many coming to the defense of Billy Mitchell now. And that's really sad to me because I feel like it's really obvious that Billy Mitchell is kind of a, you know, like a lot of what Karl Jobst said was true. He lost this court case on one single very ancillary claim he could have just left out of his video and it would have made no difference. What truly happened here was Karl made a solid call-out video on the guy and on his background and history and slipped up. He slipped up with his script writing and he said something that was legally actionable. It's very clear that one thing Billy Mitchell is not a fraud at is his knowledge in law. Or that where he has a lot of money for lawyers to consult, because he must have like a lawyer buddy that he watches or reads anything that calls him out with, and if that lawyer spots something like, hey, this right here, you could take them to court over this one line and win. Like, he must have someone like that, because he either wins or gets money paid out to him in a settlement almost every time. Really rough. Really rough stuff here, though. Karl Jobst seems like a nice guy. I'm not against him here, to be very clear. But he did lose. And I think it's a sad day for YouTubers who call out assholes in the world. You know, it goes to show that, like, even with public support, even if you're pretty much on the right side, the courts don't care. And they can be unfair. Bars. Anyway, if you enjoyed this segment, if you found it enjoyable, educational, or in any way enjoyable, then please consider leaving a like, entertaining. Consider leaving a like and a comment. Every single thumbs up and comment you leave boosts the channel in the algorithm, kind of giving like a little bit of an electric shock to YouTube to force it to push my stuff out to more people who've never seen it before. It helps immensely, so I really do appreciate it. And of course, if you haven't already and you're new here, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, be sure to follow my social medias, which are linked down below in the description. And if you want to see more from me, even more so, you should join my fan Discord. That's the main hub of my community and fan base. I host gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, and movie nights there, and I announce all my new uploads and streams in my Discord. So if you don't want to miss anything at all, that is the place to be. Links down below in the description once again. And of course, finally, if you want to support me directly, if you can afford it and you feel like it, you can do so by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or you can support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or you can buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.